This is the story of Multiversus. Well, so far. Multiversus was made known to the gaming world from a tweet that comes from an individual that goes by the moniker of Hungrybox. The tweet itself showed a supposed roster consisting of characters from many different franchises, like Steven Universe, Rick and Morty, Tom and Jerry, and even Looney Tunes, just to name a few. Kind of an exciting little collection of characters, but more importantly, that tweet, well, it showed a copyright claim, kind of giving this rumor at the time a lot of credibility and a lot of believability to it. Well, just a few weeks after this Hungrybox tweet was making the rounds on the internet, a little studio by the name of Player First Games officially gave the fans the true first look at what the game had to offer. The reveal trailer was a pretty massive hit with the fans at the time. The trailer itself promised the players many exciting things to come. For example, the unique roster. We already talked about a few of those, but they also promised best-in-class rollback netcode for online. Maybe that didn't work out the greatest, but it was promised at the time. People were excited about that. They promised in-game events, always fun. We got a few of those. And they also showed off the ability for characters to have actual voice acting from iconic voice actors such as the late great Kevin Conroy as Batman and Matthew Lillard as Shaggy, just to name a couple. That's exciting voice acting, especially coming off of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl's, shall we say, flub of zero voice acting whatsoever. This was a very promising sign for the game. It wasn't long after the official reveal before players actually got to get a chance to get their hands on the game and try it out for themselves. Tech Test 1 was officially announced for, I believe, a 4-day period. Unfortunately for some people that signed up and got in, they found out that it was a PC-only test, meaning console gamers kind of got left out in the dust on this one. Although console gamers did get their chance later on, a few months later, but hey, players, they got their hands on it. But by signing up for the tech test for Tech Test 1 and 2, gamers had to sign essentially an NDA saying they couldn't talk about it, they couldn't share screenshots or videos or any information about the game. Well, gamers are gamers, and you can probably guess how this goes. But Multiversus continued to build upon this momentum by having none other than the game director himself, Tony Wynn, answer as many questions as he possibly could. Barring, hey, is character A, B, and C going to be in the game? Well, he kind of can't really answer that because that kind of ruins the fun of the character reveals. But again, he's out there answering as many questions as he could, which was a move that really helped solidify Multiversus and really helped make this game and this community seem special. Devs that were interacting with their community and being this open and transparent, at least as much as they could, is a rarity in today's day and date. So this, by all means, this was building up positively for Multiversus and its fans. So while Tony and Multiversus continued to build upon its positivity that they've created so far, then they go ahead and announce Tech Test 2. And like we alluded to, gamers being gamers, well, this Tech Test 2 is actually where Multiversus suffered its first mishap. Albeit a small one, but it still should have been something PFG should have seen coming and should have had something at the ready. What was that mishap, you might ask? Well, again, Player First Games during their tech test, those NDAs where people could not share anything about the game, well, they had a surprise for players in Tech Test 2. A brand new character was announced. Velma was in the game along with a brand new Scooby Mansion stage. Well, as you can guess, gamers being gamers, they didn't care about the NDA and they shared it immediately. These started making the rounds, a new character and a new stage, and, well, I guess you could say the mishap is Multiversus wasn't ready for the reveal. They had nothing to go on. They didn't have a quick little video of, oh, by the way, Velma's now in the game with a new stage. No, in fact, all they did was release an extremely short, albeit disappointing, 7-second video that had a magnifying glass going over the word Jinkies. Very lackluster, very last minute. It seemed like there was, this shouldn't have happened in the first place, but again, Multiversus should have been ready at the time, and they weren't. But switching gears here, another great thing that they did end up doing is what Tony Wynn, the game director, told the fans about future, at least some future characters, where he put out this tweet where he tells the players that they're depending on the player request for future characters. Maybe not every future character, but they're listening to who the players want. However, I can tell you at current real life time, this really wasn't the case moving forward. Again, maybe it's because they had so many characters in their backlog, but we didn't really get to see these highly requested characters in game, so this kind of gave the game another little bit of a black eye. Although things can always change in the future, but at least at the time of recording, yeah, this statement now doesn't look the greatest. But let's fast forward in time a bit, shall we? Multiversus then officially announces that it is headed to EVO 2022 with a massive $100,000 payout to the winners. This was a fantastic way to get more eyes on the game and help it to continue to grow and build the hype. This generated a ton of hype because the game is now going to be put front and center on one of the biggest stages for video games, fighting games especially. So this helped solidify the future of it being a legitimate fighting type game, even if it's just a platform fighter, but it still helped solidify what Multiversus was doing and making it a household name. But the big announcements didn't stop there either, as Multiversus then told the world about the upcoming closed alpha that would finally include console players, and they did this through a tremendous animated trailer that made the game's hype soar to the highest that it had ever been. The trailer was so well done, the community was even going over the trailer with a fine-tooth comb, trying to find any and every single small detail that might be a hint or alluding to something future about the game. Things such as Marvin the Martian's his spaceship in the background. They had a Green Lantern in the middle of the trailer. They had the Scooby van in the trailer. People were analyzing all of this, trying to see if they could figure out who or what might be coming next for the game. But Multiversus continued rolling right along by sharing even more details about the upcoming closed alpha. From Tony Wynn himself, he even mentions that one of the new characters revealed in that animated trailer, Taz, would actually be playable in the closed alpha, and Iron Giant, the second of two new characters that were revealed, would end up being playable once the open beta starts. And of course, people could finally start recording gameplays and giving their proper opinion once the closed alpha began. Hype is building, fans are excited, great times ahead, right? Well, now comes the day for the open beta, and things could not look any better for the game. Considering this game was free, cost you nothing to download, it still somehow was able to become the best-selling software title for the month of July, basically from all the Founders Pack sales. If a free game can top the sales charts during its first month for an open beta, doesn't that kind of tell you how huge the hype was for this game? The open beta actually even started out extremely strong, like a bodybuilder strong. Like this, it came out the gates firing. Multiversus actually gave the community a goal to accomplish, and once that goal was accomplished, the players would be rewarded with a brand new stage. Well, the player base was so rampant at the time that this accomplishment was met in less than 3 hours. The community was loving this. They're being rewarded for playing the game. We're getting new content. Things are building and building and building. This is looking great. Then, unfortunately, on August 3rd, 2022, this is where things started to go downhill for the game. It all started with a simple announcement of Morty and Season 1 getting delayed. But at least the preseason Battle Pass got extended by an extra week, so anybody that was a part of the preseason Battle Pass, you got a little bit of extra time to help finish that, which is good, but Multiversus delaying the beginning of the season was definitely not the first time they would delay any of their new content updates. And this eventually got to a lot of people. And if you combine that with things like Season 1 actually receiving a roadmap, which was a good thing, but the roadmap itself showed characters like Rick Sanchez and Morty Smith, but then once Season 1 began, in the most mind-baffling, head-scratching way, Multiversus, when you loaded up Season 1, they showed 2 characters that had not been announced at all, in Black Adam and Stripe. Now, if you don't know, Multiversus is a platform fighter. Fighting games in general need to build up hype for their new characters. And when Multiversus just nonchalantly throws up 2 characters on a loading screen that they hadn't even announced before then, it made it seem like they didn't care about future updates or future announcements for the game. They didn't want to continue building up hype. If they knew this whole time that Black Adam and Stripe were going to be on the loading screen, then they would have revealed them beforehand. Maybe even reveal them before Morty and Rick. Possibly, at least figure out a better way to do that, or put Rick and Morty on the loading screen instead of Black Adam and Stripe. Whichever, this was just a head-scratching, mind-baffling decision. So you load up the game and you see these 2 characters that haven't been revealed, and you start thinking to yourself, is this a leak? Did Multiversus mess up? Well, yes, but they tried to play it off as simple as, oh yeah, by the way, there's new characters that we haven't announced yet. I hope you guys are excited about that. Yeah, you need to build up the hype of new characters, and especially their announcements. Unfortunately, the downward trend continued with many things like character delays, more content idea updates being delayed, and even the horribly executed bonus tiers for the Season 1 Battle Pass. And then plus Ranked Mode, which was promised during Season 1, which technically did arrive during Season 1, but only on the very last day of the season, which to the player base, which started to fall off at this point a bit, started to wonder, why did you release Ranked Mode now? It clearly isn't ready, especially when Multiversus announced that it's only an alpha version of itself. But then, the very next day, Season 2 starts. Well, with a new season comes new hope, new ideas, new expectations, and well, what did we get for the very beginning, day 1 of Season 2? We got a brand new Battle Pass. And that was it. Yeah, we didn't get a new character, we didn't get a new stage, we didn't get nothing else on day 1 for Season 2. In fact, it wasn't until a week later that we got the first character for the Season 2, but it happened to be the first and only character for Season 2 in Marvin the Martian. Now, followed this by a few weeks later in December, where it was announced that there was a new stage coming into the game. Now, that's pretty cool. New stage was sorely needed at the time, and still is for the game. But we also got the announcement for the holiday event, which was cool. All this was in December, early December of 2022. However, that was about the only good news that we'd get for the rest of the season. For the last half of December, of course, PFG went on winter break, which is fine. Everybody needs a little break from time to time. But then we get all of January, all of February, and almost all of March with pretty much nothing new. No new content, no new characters, no more new stages, no new game modes, nothing. It left the players scratching their heads. And then, of course, backing up a little bit to December, Multiversus actually won the official Fighting Game of the Year award. And then Multiversus didn't really do anything to celebrate this occasion. You would think for a game that has many player icons and player banners that something as simple as Fighting Game of the Year 2022. That could have been put in the game as a profile icon to help celebrate with your community that voted you for this award and got you this award. You would think something like that, given out free to the players for saying, thank you for supporting us. No, they didn't even do that. In fact, the only thing they did was a quick little message on Twitter that was kind of like, oh, hey, thanks for helping us win this. We kind of didn't expect it. That was kind of the tone of the message. So not saying they didn't deserve the win, but it felt like they didn't think they should have won. At least that's my interpretation of it. So it led a lot of the players through January, February, and March. Again, the dwindling player base that was around, it started leading them to think, what's going on with the game? The devs went radio silent. For 3+ months, we got nothing, leaving the players even more confused and ultimately wondering if the game was shutting down. Well, now we know the game is actually shutting down. Well, temporarily. On June 25th, this year, 2023, the game is being taken offline in their open beta state. The most recent news that came out earlier this week is both good and bad. However, the bad is, of course, the short term because, well, there's nothing new to look forward to for the game for the rest of the year. It's just kind of there. If you want to play it, go for it. If you're looking for more excitement, well, you got all of the excitement last year. So the game definitely left us surprised and baffled with this announcement, yet the good news was the future of the game is what's in focus, and they want to improve and make it the best they can. And I'm all for that. Let them do that. Take it offline, go build up your inventory of new content and all that sort of stuff. Improve hitboxes and netcode and everything else that you need to do to make the game live up to its fullest potential. Because let's face it, Multiversus has been nothing short of a roller coaster ride that continues to surprise and baffle us, yet we still want to get back in line and go on this ride again. And hopefully, the next time this ride opens up, it can live up to the hype.